Hey there everyone, welcome to the Uke Stuff channel. Today I'm here to talk about this device. This is the Roadie 4. It just came out and it's an automatic tuner. Now I have reviewed automatic tuners before and I've talked about how much I like this one. This is the Jowoom tuner. I do have access to a Roadie 2 that we bought years before to use with our school ukuleles. The Jowoom ended up being a better option just because you can set the Jowoom in an automatic mode and not have to press buttons each time. Now, the Roadie 4 is out. There was a Roadie 3, there was a Roadie base as well. Roadie has also made the Roadie Coach, which is a microphone, but also like sort of a feedback way to get feedback on your playing. And there's actually some lessons and other things. Roadie did send me the Roadie Coach for review purposes to keep, so that's out there. This one I bought on crowdfunding, so I used my own money to buy this one. However, it was at a discounted rate, just like anybody could get from the crowdfunding. So ultimately, there's been a couple things about the Jowoom that I've liked a lot. The first is that the battery lasts forever. These don't respond well to being dropped on the ground. That makes sense, right? And unfortunately, the school that I work at has the terrazzo floor, so if it hits the ground, it hits hard and it breaks. So I've had to replace a couple over the years. Just various things have happened. But considering how much they can be used, at one point I was tuning 40 ukuleles 5 times a day, which is a lot when you consider that throughout a year, right? So the battery lasts forever. So this one still lasts a month long of tuning these on almost a daily basis. So that's a really good battery life. I am not sure what the battery life is on the Roadie 4, but some very clear improvements that have been made are it's really got this texture that makes it really feel good in the hand. It's simplified buttons in operation. So you have, I believe, a reset button on the top there, the tiny one, but then you've got power. You press once and then it turns on. Now, one of my big complaints about the Roadie for use in schools is you have to press the button each time. Well, it turns out that in the menu, if you go into the settings, and by the way, there's a tuner, there's a metronome. I would never use it, but it's nice that it's there. There's a string winder function, and that is one area that the Jowoom is going to remain to be better because you turn it on, and if you hit the up and down buttons, you turn it into a string winder super simply. So, but it's there if you need it. Keep them going. You have settings, and then you've got a select arrow and a back arrow, and in those settings, you can choose tune up, and I've got it set for disabled, so it's always tuning up. Some people really feel strongly about that. When I'm tuning ukuleles, I just want it done rapidly. Accuracy fast, you can change that. Note order ascending, so that's on your strings, typically strings 4, 3, 2, 1, or if your guitar would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? You could also change that to descending. Launch screen, and this is the setting there that asks for your last instrument. You can also change that to, as you scroll, the home screen, last instrument, favorite instrument, instrument list. But if you choose last instrument and you set it up for your instruments in your school, you're good to go. So that's the one I'm going to choose as last instrument. So whenever you turn your device on, and I'll turn this off, it gets touch and hold till it goes off, it vibrates when it's done, and you turn it back on, it's going to come into your last instrument. Now, in my case, I need to make sure that that's set for the kids' ukuleles. Now, Roadie has a different mindset. Ideally, this is for a private owner who is going to set up a profile for every instrument they own. It does not really reflect the mindset of a school where you might have 40 flight QSL kids ukuleles. So it's the mindset that maybe you have 3 or 4. It's also not a mindset of mine where like my collection of amazing ukuleles is like 20 of them. That's not quite what this is created for. Now, can you create a profile for every one of those instruments? Yes. And what you do is you can either do that on the device itself and choose a standard tuning, or you can go into the app and create really a profile for each of your instruments if you want to do that. I think they say that tuning works best when every instrument has its own profile, but I'm not going to make kids ukulele number 1, kids ukulele number 2, kids ukulele number 3. That isn't practical with pressing buttons and things on this tuner. So with this, I have programmed so far a few instruments, but I'm going to leave it on the TUSL Kids setting, and I'm going to choose that, and then just go in tune. And again, it's going from what normally strings 4 through 2, 1. Now, if I'm doing a left-handed ukulele, I have to remember that it goes the other way, but you put it on, and it spins until it tunes. That one's good. And then the last one. And then it's ready to go again with TUSL Kids. I do have to press the button again. So it does remain with one press to tune each instrument as you go. However, in turning on the instrument, you don't have to select it, then it's going to stay in that mode. So for a school, at the very least, you just have to select that instrument again. So I do the right arrow. All right. Now, what about a baritone? This is a concert with Pepe Romero baby baritone strings on it, so I can tune it like a DGBE ukulele. That actually helps me as I'm making tutorials, so I don't have to adjust sizes. I normally play concert, and to switch from concert to baritone can be kind of hard, on the fingers. So it helps me sort of stay at the same scale. But I do have a profile for my tom concert baritone, and I can select it, and it will tune then at that setting as well. All right, so what do I think? I think it's well made. I think it feels good in the hands. I like the fact that it has the ability to turn on to the last instrument that you tuned. The one thing that I wish it had was the ability to just keep repeating that. And it doesn't have that yet. So if I tune one TUSL Kids and I get through the 4, it goes right back to the tuner for the first string for the next one again. I'd like that without having to press the button. And the only thing that would cause me to recommend this tuner, the Jowoom, over the Roadie 4 for a school, please note for a school, is number one, because this has the fully automatic mode where it just keeps tuning any string you put it on and tries tuning to the closest possible string. And then again, these buttons to make the string winder function super easy when you have to work on an ukulele. If you're changing strings for a bunch of ukuleles, this is really a godsend. But for the average person, this is actually more refined. It has more possibilities. So for example, if you have an 8-string ukulele, you can set it up for that tuning, and you can focus on just tuning that instrument correctly. I have not had this one fly off the handle. And what I mean by that is occasionally the string winder here, the Jowoom, doesn't hear the right pitch and it'll spin too high or too low. And sometimes it adjusts itself when you replay the string. Sometimes it doesn't, and you have to get the tuner off and sort of adjust it a little bit. So this one can fly off the handle. So could the Roadie 2. I have not had that happen with the Roadie 4 yet, and I'm also not sure about battery life here. But if you're looking for a personal tuner, the Enya works. The earlier Roadies work. The Jowoom works. But this probably is the best iteration. I'd love to see some of these functions or overall design, because this is really well thought out up here in the Jowoom, but there's been no advancement on this for 5 years. It's still available just the way that it is, and it works, so maybe there's nothing you really need to fix, but it is nice to see that Roadie is continuing to work on it. And again, if you are a teacher, it could work for your situation. You just have to press one button repeatedly when you're tuning. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this video about the Roadie 4 automatic tuner. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more uke stuff for you.